Tonight on To The Point, expanding abortion access to Arizona.
California will protect the privacy of any Arizona medical professionals that come here under this law.
What our state lawmakers are proposing to do. Plus, what's next for abortion rights as the Supreme Court takes up a case about emergency care. Tackling the opioid crisis, the new response team investigating crimes and hoping to save lives. And later in the show, honoring a local veteran. Meet the man behind the name of the area's newest VA clinic opening soon.
Thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. California lawmakers want to help Arizona residents get abortions in California. And Governor Gavin Newsom and the state's Women Caucus made the emergency announcement today as the door on abortion access in Arizona closes. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen joins us with what's being proposed and how this could impact care right here.
Alex, as you mentioned, this is an emergency announcement. If passed, this bill could go into effect as soon as June. It's meant to give providers quicker access to licensing to perform abortion services, and it will allow Arizona women to easily access those services here in California.
This is serious.
Just 2 weeks after the Arizona Supreme Court ruled to ban abortion and threatened doctors who perform abortions with criminal prosecution, Governor Gavin Newsom, the first partner and the California Women's Caucus, announced Senate Bill 233.
We have passed legislation to expand, to protect, to strengthen access to reproductive health care in our state, including access to safe abortions to all Californians and refugees from other states seeking such care.
This bill, if passed, would temporarily allow licensed Arizona doctors to perform abortion services for Arizona women traveling to California. Because of the urgency clause, the changes could take effect June 8th.
One thing it all has in common, it's guys like Alito. It's men determining the fate and future of women.
The governor's office says the state has seen about a 37% increase in abortion services between 2020 and 2023, in part because people are having a hard time finding abortion access in their state. Since the Supreme Court overruled Roe v. Wade in 2022, the governor has pushed for abortion access to be enshrined in California's Constitution, approved tens of millions of taxpayer dollars, and signed other laws to help protect women from other states. As for legal protections for physicians and women from Arizona, Senator Nancy Skinner says,
California will protect the privacy of any Arizona medical professionals that come here under this law. So it's built in.
On Monday, thousands of people gathered in front of the state capitol marching for life, demanding California lawmakers to support the pro-life movement.
Meet with your California legislators and let them know that you stand for life. You need to call them when critical votes are happening and let them know that you stand for life. They need to see and hear from you.
But Governor Newsom says he's not buying it.
Spare me this freedom gospel. Spare me. Pro-life? Really? What?
Now, there are 8 Republicans on the Women's Caucus. None of them were at today's announcement. I called each and every one of them. Some of them told me they didn't know anything about this emergency legislation. Now, Assemblymember Diane Dixon out of Newport Beach did say, quote, "My invitation to the press conference must have gotten lost in the mail. Instead of worrying about another state's issue, the governor and the legislature should focus their time on reducing crime, addressing homelessness, and figuring out how to solve the $73 billion deficit crisis." Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. And just hours ago, the Arizona House repealed the state's near total abortion ban. It now moves on to the Arizona State Senate. And all of this comes as the issue of abortion is back in the Supreme Court's hands. Justices heard 2 hours of arguments today about whether Idaho doctors must perform abortions under broader circumstances than what its state law currently allows. Idaho officials claim the laws are not in conflict with each other, and the Biden administration argues a woman seeking an abortion procedure in Idaho because of a health complication cannot get one until her life is in imminent danger.
Because the doctors are facing mandatory minimum 2 years in prison, loss of their license, criminal prosecution. The doctors can't provide the care because until they can conclude that a prosecutor looking over their shoulder won't second guess that maybe it wasn't really necessary to prevent death.
Idaho is one of 21 states that bans or severely restricts abortion. A decision in this case is expected by the end of June.
It's a good day for America, it's a good day for Europe, and it's a good day for world peace.
President Biden has signed the $95 billion foreign aid package into law, and it includes $61 billion for Ukraine, $26 billion to support Israel and Gaza, and as well as $8 billion for Taiwan. And it also gives TikTok's Chinese parent company an ultimatum. They can either sell the app in the next 9 months or be banned in the U.S. Lawmakers in both parties claim the Chinese government could force TikTok's owner, ByteDance, to hand over Americans' data or use the app to spread misinformation. TikTok has denied these claims and said that they plan to sue to block this new law. And tonight, an arson investigation is underway in Antelope. Take a look at this. Insurance adjusters are calling this house on Country Run Way a total loss. Neighbors and a family member of the homeowner say that squatters have been living at this home. The Sacramento Sheriff's Office say they received multiple calls for service about the property, including today when a fight broke out at the fire scene. The two people there were detained. The homeowner's son confirms with us, ABC 10, that the people living in that home, they were squatters and they have been taking legal action to get them removed. Neighbors say that they are fed up with the trash and the crime that's associated with the home.
This is a very nice neighborhood. It was. The police have been out here constantly for the last month, I'd say, at least once a day.
And neighbors say that they understand law enforcement's hands are tied and removing squatters has to go through the courts. Meantime, in Carmichael, one person is recovering after being rescued from a house fire. It happened around 7:30 this morning off Rampart Drive, and crews say when they arrived, the flames were coming back from the end of the home that extended into the attic. The person inside was taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. The cause is still under investigation. And then, man, take a look at this image right here. A muddy, flooded mess that took hours to clean up out in Orangeville today after a water main ruptured. The CHP says that it happened along Pershing Avenue just before 6 this morning. And obviously, streets closed down. In a statement, the Fair Oaks Water District said it was their own equipment that first alerted them to the break. They add that if your water appears less than clear, let some drain out from a hose or in a bathtub until it looks clear again. Still ahead on To The Point, a behind-the-scenes look at a new team fighting the opioid crisis, how it works, and their hope to save lives.
We are still tracking the opportunity for showers later this week, including some Sierra snow.
And later, how a pact made by 4 sisters led to their father's name being on the new Stockton VA clinic.
There was no cause to him bigger than taking care of our veterans, making sure they had everything they earned.
All right, Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods with our forecast. Another cool day. It was kind of cloudy, though.
Yeah, we saw some peaks of sunshine late in the day, but overall, just kind of struggling to break it, the sunshine breaking its way through the cloud cover. And so temperatures reflecting that. Average high 74 degrees today, only 69. That after reaching highs in the mid to upper 80s Sunday and Monday. So kind of a reality check that we're in spring still, not necessarily summer. Current temperatures are in the 60s as we head out on this Wednesday evening, 50s and 60s for the foothills and close to 50 for the Sierra. So for that evening walk, we have that southwest wind at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. That will slowly start to taper off early tomorrow with that morning low at 50. Now tomorrow's still a cool day. We're going to see one weather system move its way southward through the state, another one on the approach. So we get a little bit of a break in between the cloud cover moving in, as well as the opportunity for showers, but it's right back with us for our Friday. What you'll notice, though, is that most of the accumulated rain is going to be on the east side of the valley and through the foothills. That will also be true for the Sierra snow. It's going to be on the lighter side, 1 to 4 inches possible during the day on Friday. Still could see some travel delays, but as far as huge weather impacts, that's not what we're expecting. An increase in cloud cover during the day on Thursday. Rain will start to increase as we head into our Friday, and snow for the Sierra down to about 6,500 feet. That means snow below the passes. Highs tomorrow near 50 for the Sierra, 50s and 60s for the foothills. We'll be in the 60s and 70s along the coast and 70s inland. On the cooler side of things for one more day here as we head into our Friday, we see the unsettled weather developing with a slight chance of thunderstorms in the foothills. 10-day forecast, this is really a one-day event. We're right back to the sunshine and warmer weather this weekend.
All right, Monica, thank you so much. Next on To The Point, the new response team fighting the opioid crisis out in Placer County, how they're hoping to educate the community while also saving lives. Plus, new rules for airlines, what they'll have to give you if something goes wrong with your flight. Tonight, the Placer County Sheriff's Office is taking a new approach to stopping fentanyl-related deaths by introducing a one-of-a-kind response team. The lead detective for this opioid response team already has experience with holding drug dealers accountable, and he has big plans to expand his work. Roxanne Elias explains.
Gone are the days when a fentanyl poisoning in Placer County ended up solely at the coroner's office.
Sheriff Wu became tired of seeing citizens die and citizens being affected by what fentanyl has done to essentially everywhere in this country.
So about 3 weeks ago, Sheriff Wayne Wu officially launched one of the first opioid-focused teams in the state. They're calling it the Opioid Response Team. Within the team of 2, Detective Patrick Craven is the lead detective.
Our mission is to respond out to all fentanyl-related deaths that occur within Placer County jurisdiction and to investigate where that person got fentanyl from. And then to also take a proactive approach within our community.
An initial response begins at the crime scene, then they hit the ground running. It involves a thorough investigation looking at all the facts.
However, the weapon in this case is fentanyl. And so it's using various investigative techniques through essentially trial and error that we've learned have been successful.
A lot of the evidence is obtained digitally, and if the evidence is there to charge someone, then they take action. Detective Craven did not fall into this work by accident. He was previously on a narcotics team and has played a role in bringing other cases to court.
My first case involving a fentanyl-related death occurred in 2020 when Zach Didier, a 17-year-old young man from Rockland, died off of taking a counterfeit Percocet pill.
Since then, he and the district attorney's office have charged 5 people related to the death of someone. The team is seeking justice and providing closure for the families who lose a loved one.
The goal would be to move to a position where every death, even outside of our jurisdiction, could be investigated fully.
And Detective Craven says this is just the beginning. At some point, he hopes a regional team will be developed so all cases in Northern California are fully investigated. Tonight in your price points, non-compete clauses could soon be a thing of the past. The Federal Trade Commission has voted to ban the agreements which stop workers from taking a job with a competitor. Right now, an estimated 30 million workers are subject to a non-compete. The rule, which does not apply to workers at nonprofits, will take effect in 4 months unless it is challenged in court. Existing non-competes for senior executives can remain in force under the FTC's rule, but employers are banned from entering into or attempting to enforce any new non-competes. And then I have some good news ahead of your summer travel. The Department of Transportation has announced new guidelines that require airlines to give you a refund if there's a flight disruption. So here's the breakdown. If your domestic flight is delayed for more than 3 hours or more than 6 for international, you will be eligible for an automatic refund. If an airline switches your airport, adds connections, downgrades your seat, or even changes your plane to one that's less accessible, you are eligible for a cash refund. You can also get one if your checked luggage doesn't arrive within 12 hours, or even if the Wi-Fi on the plane doesn't work.
We hear again and again from passengers who describe how hard they have to push just to get the refunds that are owed to them. And often our consumer protection team has had to impose multi-million-dollar penalties on airlines just to get them to do what should already be required.
The Department of Transportation is giving airlines 6 months to make the change. Airlines will have 7 days to return your money if something goes wrong. A new VA clinic is about to open in Stockton, and when you drive up, you will see this name, Richard A. Pittman. That's who the facility will be named after, and he is a Stockton native, a hero, and a veteran. So tonight, we want to introduce you to the man behind the name, so when you see it, you won't forget it.
Hometown hero, Master Sergeant Pittman.
Our name.
Hi, Daddy.
The one thing we can truly give meaning to. Names can feel familiar or unforgettable.
That is our dad's flag. We were asked if we would mind having Daddy's flag on display, and we were honored to have it here.
So my dad's featured on it right there.
We sat down with twins Tina and Gina Pittman to learn about the man behind their family name.
Our dad was larger than life.
10 feet tall and bulletproof.
Exactly.
Richard Pittman, a self-described poor kid from Stockton who joined the Marine Corps in 1965.
He was blind in one eye and cheated to go active duty.
I remember being like, Dad's blind in one eye? We had no idea.
Because we swore he had eyes in the back of his head.
In the back of his head. I don't think we ever knew. And you know, turns out when he was in Vietnam, neither did they.
His heroic actions during the Vietnam War would send him home a decorated soldier. That's when Richard earned a new name.
He was everybody's hero.
In 1968, Richard was awarded the Medal of Honor, the United States Armed Forces' highest military decoration. A life-changing moment followed by another.
While they were there for him to be decorated at the White House is when our grandmother figured out my mom was pregnant.
Twins.
Surprise! Pittman baby 2 at your service.
And then Richard earned another name.
This is our favorite picture of our dad, pretty much, because this is how we saw him in his everyday uniform or his camis, every day.
A name he wore as proud as his uniform.
Oh, Saturday morning PTs. Oh, we could tell you stories.
What was that like?
So we could not exercise.
My dad said at one time that ribbon to him was off the blood, sweat, and tears of other men.
Who gave their lives.
And that he wore that to represent them. He earned that medal without a doubt, but that wasn't all he was. And he said, you know, I've done quite a few things in my life I'm proud of. I have 4 of them.
Master Sergeant Richard Pittman served in the Marine Corps for more than 2 decades before deciding it was time for a change.
Because I said, what are you going to do? You can't retire, you're too young. What will you be? What will I tell people you are? And there was this long silence, and he said, well, I thought I'd just be your dad for a while. Could we try that and see? And I was like, oh.
After being dad for a while, Richard earned another name, Grandpa.
This is his 2 oldest grandsons. They were his pride and joy since he had no boys. He was robbed, I tell you.
Richard's commitment to country marked in history. In his community, it's sealed on the school where his grandchildren walked the halls.
He used to say that his grandkids were do-overs all the time.
All while Richard was still fighting another war.
My father suffered from PTSD from the day my dad came home from Vietnam until the day that he died. He struggled with it.
He did perimeter checks every single night, all night long, until he died. He used to joke that we should put on his headstone, finally a good night's rest. And there was no cause to him bigger than taking care of our veterans, making sure they had everything they earned.
Richard, Master Sergeant Pittman, hero, dad, grandpa, passed away in 2016. But his fight for veterans care is still alive.
The 4 of us made a pact when Dad died that we would do our best to ensure his legacy.
Now that legacy will live here in the new VA medical clinic that will bear the name Richard Pittman.
When our dad needed care the last 5 years, he had to go all the way to Palo Alto or all the way to Livermore.
It should be as easy as them picking up the phone and saying, I am a veteran and you have a clinic. I need to be seen. As a country, as a people, we owe them that. At the very least, we owe them medical care, mental care.
Richard Pittman, a name familiar to his community, unforgettable to his family.
Before we move on, I want to say thank you to the Pittman family. I deeply appreciate you sharing your father's life and legacy and for trusting us to tell his story. I also want to mention that there is a ribbon cutting ceremony tomorrow unveiling Mr. Pittman's name at the clinic, and that clinic will officially open next Tuesday, catering to 25,000 veterans. And if you are a veteran watching right now, I personally want to say thank you for your service. It does not go unnoticed. We'll be right back after this short break. Retiring from a job you love, it can be hard, especially if your job was playing in the NFL. I recently sat down with two local retired 49ers teammates who share their journey of reinventing themselves and rebuilding their lives after football.
Felt kind of lost. Am I going to make a second career? Who am I? You're a football player. Who are you now?
I felt like the worst father, the worst husband, a failure in the NFL's, oh, these guys just blow their money. Well, I invested in everything.
How their friendship gave them the support they needed to realize that they will not be sidelined. Catch this story tomorrow night on a special edition of ABC 10 at 8 p.m. right after the NFL draft. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. We love telling your stories and we love getting to meet you. So reach out if you have something you think we should be looking into. Have a great night. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.